In this video, we're going to make a start on the windscreen wipers. So I'll just talk you through the parts I've got. So these are the wiper blades and setup. So that's the part number there. So they're just 10-inch blades. There's the part number on there if you need that. And the actual brand, they're called just Classic Wipers. Classic. This must be some generic brand. I'm not too sure. So that's the part. So one lot is still not open yet. This one I have. So what I needed to do was just test fit everything to make sure it works. That's very easy to put together. That just slides into there. Down this end, that spring gets fitted in there. But the reason why I took that out, because I just wanted to do, when I was doing my test fitting, just to make sure, because it was annoying me having to flip back all the time. So that's the actual wiper part. These parts here are what sit on the actual scuttle plate. So you have these washers, that sits, I'll show you the wheel boxes in a second. I'm guessing most people would know how these go together, but I didn't pull the car apart, and I had to purchase some of the tubing for the mechanism as well. So I'll show you that in a second, but just to give you an idea of these parts here. So that actually fits underneath the scuttle panel, and then that rubber seal sits on the scuttle. That goes on top, and then that screws down onto the wheel box. So this section here is what you will see above. So the way that all the mechanism fits under there, so the wiper motor gets mounted here. They're the terminals for it. And then the wheel boxes stick through these two holes here. Now this particular Mark 1, the direction at the wipers sit, they'll sort of come across this side here. And you can sort of see scuff marks on the window where I've just sort of played around with the angles to make sure things fit. Okay, so over to the wheel boxes. These are pretty expensive. So these are Mark 1 wheel boxes. And the way you put all these together, you need these separate tubes. So there's 3 pieces, one that goes from the actual motor wiper to the first wheel box, and you can just unscrew these two, that piece lifts off, and then the end sort of just sits in there and you screw it down. So putting this bit together isn't that difficult. Same on the other end, you can just loosen the screws to adjust things. So inside it you can see sort of like a worm gear mechanism, and then that's what actually drives the wheel boxes. So there's a cog wheel, you can see it in there, there's a cog wheel. As the worm gear moves, the actual wiper, these end pieces will turn, and it's about 90 degrees roughly it turns, and that seems to be the correct angle for what it needs to be. So putting these together, I actually had this piece but didn't have these two, and that came in the kit of the new parts. That's supplied by Oz Mini Spares. They're in Australia, around Newcastle, New South Wales. And it was reasonably priced compared to the other online mini part sellers. So I'd go with him. And these also were not available in any other part suppliers. So Oz Mini Spares had those for me. Okay, so the reason why I didn't use this piece is because the actual holes on the scuttle panel weren't the correct position for that. You see, you notice that's like slightly too short. And then when these stuck through the scuttle panel, they just didn't fit through nicely. Okay, just over to the wiper motor now. So you might remember this, I sort of gave it an overhaul very early on in the piece. So I'll just sort of show you how that works. So obviously the motor's in here, turns that worm gear, that rotates this gear, and then that drives this the central gear back and forth. Okay, some of the parts you'll need is this little piece in there. I actually had to trim that down a bit so it fits level when the cover goes on. And I actually ordered that from the UK because it wasn't available in Australia. But then that actual nut came with the actual pipes, so that was fine. So that screws on into there. And then all these mechanisms, well, that gets put down there, that gets bolted down as well. And I think that moves so you can adjust there should be a slight pause when it wipes, goes back, pauses for a second, then and so on. I think that's what that's for, but I'll have to have a play and see. So overall, that's how it sits together. What I need to do is, because I just did a test fit on everything, see how it all fits, I need to actually add some grease into this main drive, just so it all runs smoothly. I did connect it up with the battery just to make sure it did actually work and everything's fine with that. But I need to add some more grease in here, put it all together, and then screw it into the car. Alright, so I'll set up the GoPro. Okay, so I've got the wires connected up to the terminals here. I'm just going to show you sort of what it looks like when it's working. So I'll just connect up this other terminal. So I've stuck those bits of tape on there just so you can sort of see the movement. So that is kind of the sweeping action that we'll get. And what I need to do now is install it into the car. So the actual wheel boxes, they'll need to be screwed in first. And then that main nut, which is here, that'll get done up last. So I'll undo that first. Then the motor needs to be mounted in. And I'll just show you what the other side of that looks like, in case you've never seen one. So these screws here, they all come as part of the mounting kit. So I've screwed those parts on. The other part it comes with is the rubber grommets. They're obviously in the vehicle at the moment. So these parts, those will stick through the rubber grommet and then get bolted up from the inside of the car. So the first thing I need to do, I'll just undo this bit here and then mount the actual wheel boxes, and we'll see how we go from there. Okay, so that'll conclude the video on the wipers. This next part I'll need to do obviously is fit the wiper washer fluid, the pipes for those, so the squirters sit on there. I still need to get the bracket for the button So I'm going to leave that for now. Another issue I've discovered is that the actual wiper switch isn't behaving that well. So that's a new switch, but I'm not too sure, so I'll turn it on. So there we go. It struggles a bit, but because the windscreen's a bit dry now. On a wet windscreen, that'll probably work okay. Okay, back on the windscreen wipers again. So they're all fitted now. What I'm actually looking at is the wiper fluid, and I'm going to make a start on that. So the way it works, you have this pump. That normally sits in there, but I've taken out the screw that holds it. So that pump, the way it works, you press the button there and it manually pumps water, which stays in a filler bottle. So the filler bottle is located right here. So it needs pipework set up. It goes into the dash, back out again, and then to a T-junction, and then to these 2 points here. So I can't remember if I showed you those nozzles in the last video. There's a T-junction. I don't know what happened to the nozzles. They're somewhere. Can't remember where I put them. Obviously somewhere safe. Anyway, the piece that I'm working on now is like a little bracket. So I've sort of just set up the angle grinder. So it's a little bracket that screws underneath the dash. I had to make this just out of a bit of scrap metal, drilled the hole in it, and what I'm going to do now is use a grinder just to put a nice curved edge on there. And yeah, so I tried to buy one of these, but not even any of the second-hand mini parts dealers had any spare. So I've got to get that piece made up, and then I can get started on doing the rest of the pipe. So I actually think I need to purchase some more hose. So this is, I think, 4mm hose, but the actual so that connects up to both of them and to the filler bottle as well. But from the T-junction, it needs 3mm hose going from there to the actual squirter jets. So I still need to purchase that hose, but at least I can get started on the bracket and install this part and the actual switch itself, maybe. Alright, I'll leave it there for now. Okay, I just want to give you a quick explanation of how this manual pump setup actually works. So in the filler bottle, you have a one-way valve here. So that's only going to let fluid go into that tube and not come back out. So that sits in there, and then I've just sort of connected this up so you can sort of see how it works. From there it goes directly to the pump, and then from the pump it goes to the actual jets. Now before you hit the jet, you get this another valve here, and then obviously that's only going to let water come out towards the jet and not come back through. So in order for this system to work, it needs both of these valves, like the one that's here near the jet and also the other valve that's inside the bottom of the bottle there. So it has to have both of them valves, otherwise this manual pump won't work. Now the actual valve that came with this tuna bottle, this one here, it kind of just fell apart straight away, and it just it didn't actually work properly as a valve. So I bought a new one. I'll just show you the one I bought. It was from Mini Sport Australia, but I can't remember which type it is, but that's the one it looks like. I'm guessing that's the better quality one. They've got a couple there for sale, so that's the better one. And that's another one too, which they bought. It was a little bit cheaper, but I bought it anyway just to see what it's like. And when I actually suck on it, that works, but if I blow back through, air still comes out, so that does not work that well either. So don't buy this one, just get the better quality one. Saves a lot of time and effort. Alright, so let's have a play, and I can't really do this with one hand, but I'll hold it like that. So you can squirt it like that, and you can see a bit of water squirting out of there. It's only effective as like a water pistol. It's not really a nice big squirter jet like you would get out of a an electric system, but I'm sure it will do the job. So now what I need to do is actually get all this fitted into the car. and then I'll give it another test and see how it all works from there. Okay, so just to finish up this video, just to show you it working. Well, it's a bit dull in here, you can't really see, but there's the button there. So I'll press, when I press that in, we get two nice jets of water coming up on that windscreen now. If you like this, the one on this side was actually blocked a little bit, so I'll put a pin in there and just jiggled that about a bit, and now it comes out in a nice stream. So I'll just we'll put the wipers on as well. Just remember which switch. Yep, that one. So there we go. Just wash the windows a bit. Alright, I'll leave it there. And thanks for watching my videos.